The odds favor Ali in this fight 6-5, if you can imagine. If ever there was a chance to make a score, you had to run to Las Vegas, which I did with my friend, and every time we could put together and put it all on Larry Holmes. Is that like taking the Saudi blood money, though, Lubie? You had to watch one of your idols all time just take an unbelievably ugly beating, and you're yelling in the corner because you have money on it. Come on, Larry! Knock him out! Money is at the root of all evil. Especially when it comes to imagine that. You're rooting for Ali to get. I mean, well, you were just screaming, "Step in and stop it, ref! It's a killing."
Right, you weren't saying that. You were saying, "Knock his old ass out."
Nah, we didn't need that. That was the biggest gimme I've ever seen in my lifetime. Right, and it's always good to be right in those situations.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very pleasant good morning, everybody. Great to be with you on this fine Thursday. Another beautiful day on tap here in South Florida. And while it was kind of halfway, I guess, glass half full, glass half empty last night, Jim Sarney, good friend of the show, maybe our biggest fan, and also a spiritual advisor on the program here, said that the headline, I asked him if he ever wrote headlines. I would imagine he did. I mean, almost anybody that was working in the newspaper business at some point in time had to put a headline together for something. Not always. I mean, not all writers. Most writers don't write the headlines in the newspaper. So when you see a story and it has a headline on it, it seems outrageous, and then everybody's saying, "Hey, Dave Hyde, what do you know about anything?" Usually the guy didn't write the headline. And sometimes people write headlines in newspapers in a rush, and they haven't really had time to read the content of the story. So they read the opening line, and it may have been one of those, a kind of O. Henry, last-minute twists. But you put it right at the top of the story. Well, you wouldn't believe this if, in a million years. And the guy only reads that part and then writes a headline that's reflective of the fact that, this is the antithesis of what the article is all about. It happens, but he says boom and gloom. That should be the headline from last night for the local teams. Boom and gloom. I was thinking it was a tale of two cities. Two cities, where we had teams playing on the road, both in critical spots. The pivotal game 2, as we often refer to it, because we just came out of a pivotal game 1. And what game, we've said this for years, although it'll be discussed about Games 5. Is Game 6 not a pivotal game if you're facing elimination?
They always say Game 3 and Game 5 are pivotal because they're odd, but it's a playoff game. I want to win them all.
This was a pivotal game 1 now, right? I mean, you lose that game, all of a sudden you find yourself in the hole. And in the case of the Panthers, who did great work last night to get 4 goals in the third period and knock off the vaunted Boston Bruins in Beantown to tie that series at 1 apiece. Obviously, both games were pivotal because they had themselves in a hole. If they go down 2-0, you're figuring the Bruins probably roll in here, get a split in the 2 games at the Panthers Arena, South Florida. What is it? South Florida Live Arena?
Yeah.
It is weird that, after having these buildings for like 30 years, we still have no idea what the name of the buildings are. Right? I haven't figured out yet. You've mentioned it a few times on the show where the Heat play, where they'll play games 3 and 4 against the Milwaukee Bucks. And did you get the feeling from looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo that he might be ready to go by Saturday night? He looked pretty spry. He looked like he'd have played last night, no?
He's going to play. I don't know what he'll be, but as you can see, it really doesn't matter.
They were actually better without him, weren't they? I mean, they really were. We were minimizing the chances of the Bucks last night. At least I was. You thought the Heat were going to throw in a stinker. That was because of your normal pessimistic view about the Miami Heat and the fact that they have been somewhat Jekyll and Hyde-like all year long. You were also asking them to win 2 straight games on the road after playing the 2 play-in games, with Milwaukee having a chance to get their legs back underneath them, shaking off the ring rust, although they had to shake it off without Antetokounmpo in the lineup, which seriously changes the dynamic of that team. There's no question that this guy is the most important component that they could possibly have out there. And yet, we owe an apology to Reggie Miller, because it's pretty clear that the Bucks were much more able to overcome the loss of Antetokounmpo then the Heat were able to make up for not having Tyler Hero in the lineup. They did get contributions out of other people, though. I mean, you had guys coming off the bench there. Oladipo and Martin each had 15 off the bench. But hard to gauge what any scoring total was worth when somehow you go down 25. What was it, 26 at halftime? 26 points. You say they were down 30 in the second quarter? I was tuning back and forth
Third
between
quarter, they were down by as much as 34
in
in
the
an
third
NBA
quarter.
playoff game. In an NBA playoff game, yes, it was 107-73. I remember because it was the first time I couldn't watch a Heat playoff game, and I was grateful. I don't have NBA TV, and I don't have Bally Sports. So I couldn't watch the game. And at the beginning, I was a little frustrated. And then soon after, I thought it was a gift from God that I could not watch that game. But
you didn't see any of it?
No, thank God. I was keeping track of the score. And at one point, they were down the 26. And then I look back, I'm like, 107-73. That's impressive. I'm like, how do you get down 34 points in the third quarter of an NBA playoff game? That you won a game already in the series? That's
when the other team's main component is out.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, that was ugly. I was watching the Panther game back and forth, and I saw what the Heat were, kind of meandering in this game. They were down 10 after the first quarter, I believe, or 9 or 10 points. Lopez was having his will. In the low post, Adebayo was back to being the reluctant, hesitant player that you despise, and Bam Adebayo. Jimmy Butler was doing his thing. He was okay, but it wasn't enough. Even Grayson Allen was making shots.
Well, that's what killed him. Lopez.
They had 25 threes in the game, Milwaukee.
Lopez had almost like single digits in the first game. He had 25 yesterday. He didn't even hit threes. I was actually wrong there. He just dominated.
No, he was inside. He was making dunks and lay-ins at the basket.
Pat Connaughton, who didn't play at all in the first game, had 22. Connaughton had 6 3-pointers and 22 points. Ingles, who I think had like 8 in the first game, had 7.
Ingles looks like another guy that should be with Cody Zeller and Kevin Love in the 40 and over league at the Posnack Jewish Center, doesn't he?
He doesn't even leave the ground. And Allen had 16, and I think Allen had like 6 of them. So that's what beat you is all these guys that either did nothing or had single digits had almost 20 points or more in this freaking game.
Seems odd that you would be totally unprepared to deal with that if you were the Miami Heat, although it was typical of what their season was all about. Let's talk about the good stuff first here with the Florida Panthers. You were able to catch that, Mike Lubie Lubitz?
I watched that entire game. Thank God for that game.
I mean, the score was even 2-2 after 2 periods. Typically you would think with the way the Bruins season has gone, they don't give up any more goals. They shut the Panthers down in the third period, maybe squeeze out some kind of a greasy goal and end up winning it 3-2, maybe 4-2 with an empty netter. Up 2-0, they come down here, they party a little bit. Maybe they lose game 3, win game 4, come back and wrap it up in 5. But that's not happening right now. I mean, they still may win the series in 5 games, but it does not look like there's any demonstrated distinct differential between these two teams. If anything, you would say, now the score indicated this, so it's not exactly like a brilliant deduction on my part, but I would say just based on the overall play, like if you were scoring it round by round or period by period or in 10-minute spurts, you would say that the game was relatively even in spite of that, with the score reflecting that, but it was really evenly played all the way through. There was no, it wasn't a hockey game where one team was definitely superior, but the other team somehow was in a tie situation. Panthers were skating, toe to toe with the Boston Bruins for the first couple of periods, and then they got the first goal of the third period very early on, and then just continued to swipe away.
Yep.
Yeah, they ended up scoring 4 straight and ran away with this thing. Ended up winning it 6-3. Clearly superior in the third period of that game. Alex Lyon, you can forgive him that goal in game 1 because he's been brilliant in other spots, including at times in game number 1. Although, that was a shaky one, there's no question. But the guy's been great. And you thought that maybe the French Joe Philbin, Paul Maurice, might panic and pull Lyon and put Bobrovsky in there. For game 2, saying, well, you know what, we got to go with the experienced guy. The kid had a little bit of the jitters, even though he played a really good game. He's lost 3 in a row now. It's time to make a switch. He stuck to his guns, and I think it paid dividends because Lyon stopped a lot of shots. You kept commenting along with the great Mike Mayo, who is Mr. Hockey once the playoffs come around. But had his share of time. Did he? Was he on the hockey beat ever, Mike Mayo? Did he cover? I think he did. Yeah, didn't he travel with the Panthers for a while?
covered them, and he definitely talked about them. I don't know if he was.
How do you end up hating sports so much after being a sports writer?
Well,
No,
that's the
seriously.
thing
Is it just that he fell in love with food? What was
he
the
was a
thing?
news writer, so he had to expose all the garbage, and you. It's hard to then ignore it. Like we'll talk about the garbage and then forget it exists. His whole job was focusing on the garbage. So
Oh, what about
he
ripping off the cities and having
cities, those
municipalities get
crime.
buried
Yes.
underneath stadium deals that have no chance, I mean, of working out in anyone else's favor except the teams?
And it's South Florida, so there must be an overabundance of that. Like, is any of the deals on the up and up? Like,
Oh
hello?
my God, are you kidding me? When they built that baseball stadium, I mean, everybody hated David Sampson. How on earth did he convince people to vote for building a stadium? And has it actually helped the area prosper at all? Is the stadium, or would you say the stadium is an asset to the area, or would this area be better off without the Marlins, period?
I'd be better off, but it's. I don't know if it's worse with it, but it's not like. Has it changed? I mean, I've been to plenty of games. It looks like the same area, but with a stadium transplanted into it. Like it's not
Yes.
better
Much like
at
the
all.
case with all of these situations where when they built the Miami Arena, they were going to beautify the area down there. That's right.
There you go.
Overtown. I mean, whatever. Is that Overtown?
Yes.
Right there by the
That's
arena?
in Overtown.
Yeah.
That's like not near Overtown where the arena is now. That's in the middle of
And it would be nice to think that that was actually going to be a consideration that was, taken into effect and that it was put into effect where, they said, okay, you know what? We're going to come in here and do some things that are not necessarily going to be favorable, but, we're going to make it up to the people here with taxpayer money. Well, whatever happened to that park that they were going to put in by the Miami Arena?
good
Nothing,
question.
huh? Did Zoe put a couple of baskets in? That was about it. My lasting recollection of the location of the old Miami Arena, which is only like a couple of blocks away from the new facility, which was originally, I guess, the American Airlines Arena, and now it's something else. But what was the incident where there were carjackings taking place, and Jan Stevenson, the golfer, ended up having her windshield smashed and a ring ripped off her finger, as you had Lucia Fell telling everybody how safe it was and how much money they invested in security around the building. Like it's not a laughing matter. I guess that same thing happened to the original Sam Smith, right? Wasn't that the name of the original Heat radio announcer who was working
Yes.
with Eric Reed? And they were
Yeah.
doing a simulcast because they were too cheap to pay another crew to do the television games, which was an atrocity because a radio call of a basketball game is so vastly different than TV, where you can see what's going on. They had a weird thing in the hockey game last night. I guess you didn't catch. Oh, you did catch this, right?
I did.
Where they were actually labeling the players, and they had like a super over the player who had the puck at different times. Were they just experimenting with that? Because and it was an arrow pointing to the player. So like Montour had the puck, and they would have superimposed up on the screen Montour and a little arrow. It was a variation on the old flaming puck thing, where you were trying to add some kind of graphics in there for the uninitiated who were struggling to figure out what the hell was going on out there. Now, I'm thinking that's why you have announcers, no? Do you really need to super up the player that has the puck? Because it changes too quickly to really, I mean, after a while, you're like, what the hell is going on out there? It was effective in spots, though, and they only used it like briefly. I want to say I really only caught that in the third period. Late in the game, all of a sudden they started superimposing on the screen a graphic as to which player had the puck. I have never seen that before. Have you? Did you notice that at all? You didn't catch that?
No, I watch. I mean, I
You
was.
couldn't miss it. I mean, it was a weird thing in terms of hockey coverage, which forever the NHL has been trying to figure out how to make its game more translatable and relatable to a television audience, and it is very relatable to a television audience if you've never been to a game. And then once if you go to a game, you're thinking, man, I'm missing everything on TV. None of this stuff is happening when I'm watching a game on TV because it's the play away from the puck that usually is instrumental in what's happening. And it's very hard to follow. It's not as bad in basketball because the wide shot of a basketball game it gives you the half court set. So and they're also able to follow the fast breaks very easily. You don't really need announcers to watch a basketball game. Whereas in hockey, identifying the players is not exactly an easy thing for the average person who doesn't know the team to do, right? So they tried this. I don't know. I've never seen it before. Maybe Jim Sarney, he would know if that's ever been done before. I haven't seen that. where they superimpose a graphic of who the player is with the puck above the player, and they have a little arrow pointing down to the guy. So if Kachuk has a puck, they have Kachuk and a little arrow pointing to him. What do you think, Libby? You like that?
I like that they're trying.
I can't believe you missed it, though. How did you not see that? Was I dreaming that? I mean, maybe I fell asleep and I was dreaming.
Ernie said they've done it before.
Oh, yeah?
Watched. I don't know. We were doing stuff around the house, and I was watching that game and then scorecasting the Heat, and I was bitter and frustrated. So I wasn't like keeping a keen eye. I just made sure that the Panthers were in it or up. I wasn't like sitting watching it. I was like, we were building. I don't know. We were doing a bunch of stuff, and the fact that he were playing like garbage totally ruined the Panthers game for me. So I wasn't transfixed on it. It does feel like when they did the stupid ass laser where you thought that was a good idea because no one can ever find the puck.
Right.
And then it just was more distracting.
It's getting that way in golf, which originally when they had the tracer, the line tracing where the shot went, you thought, wow, that's a good thing. That's very innovative, and it kind of helps you a little bit. But then they keep showing this banana slice, and it looks like the ball is going to be like 30 yards into the woods on the right, and there it lands in the fairway. And then Nance will go, oh, a perfect drive by Tiger there. By the way, Tiger surgery on his ankle. And I don't know, is that the end? What do you think? Does he still come out and try to crawl around the course on a couple of majors this year? I would think not. Can you really get arthritis that badly that you need surgery? Can you cure arthritis with surgery? I never heard of that concept either, but supposedly that's why he had the surgery on his ankle, Tiger Woods. Just an aside. All right, so where does this leave us, Mike Lubie Lubitz? So let's get into it here a little bit. And we have the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge coming up with Dave Gurggles Gergely. Gurggles is in, right? Is that confirmed? Okay, good. So we'll have that for you, and you can dial us up anytime. We're always imploring new blood to get involved here, and then we'll get like the Chronics all calling in, but we're fine with that too. Because the thing is, it's about the game, as Pat Riley would say.
Yes, it's just fun.
It's just about the game. And time. Even if you're scoring at home, even if you're not involved as one of the callers and participants in the game, obviously, we're hoping that your mind is stimulated by not only the people at Hialeah Park to get down there and gamble your brains out, but to follow along with the questions and see if you knew the answers. And you're sitting there going, "Come on, Lenny, you know that's false." Are people playing along at home like they do? Don't you get crazy when the people on, say Wheel of Fortune can't solve the puzzle and there's only one letter missing, and you're like, "You moron!"
That one and Family Feud are the one where it's like, "Hello."
Yeah. I guess Jeopardy is, not quite as bad. Like
horrendous at Jeopardy. You're happy when you get one right.
Byzantine Empire. What are you talking about?
Like the Ottomans.
Who read that book? Authors for 400 there. Like, what? I can't even get Mark Twain. Huckleberry Finn. All right. Anyway, so where does this leave us, Lubie? Let's take it one at a time. Heat coming back home. Antetokounmpo looked pretty spry to me. I mean, for a guy with back problems, he wasn't exactly exhibiting the idea that he was in any kind of pain whatsoever. He's jumping up and down and cheering and going crazy, and you thought, why isn't this guy playing? So I'm thinking by Saturday night, this guy gets infused with enough stuff that eases the pain in his back that he's out there playing. So what was this? The big whiffed opportunity for the Miami Heat, who still you would think are going to be, fairly, tough out at home in both of these games. I don't see them losing them both. Do you?
Had a chance to win the series. Like this was a series that many thought was going to be a sweep. I figured they'd get a game somewhere in there, so it'd be a 5-game series.
Yeah.
Once they won game one, if things shook out right, then they could have a chance to actually pull off the upset. To me, once you lose that game and you lose it like that, the Milwaukee Bucks stake their claim to this series. I think the Heat will win one of these two because they do play better at home. Their role players who were abysmal on offense and defense will play better. You're not going to, and also the Bucks role players, the Grayson Allens of the world, Connaughton, you would think aren't going to split 40 points together. So on the road. So you would think the Heat would get one of those games and it'll probably go 6 and the Bucks will win in 6 is what I think will happen going forward.
Why do I wish it was Draymond Green instead of, it was Grayson Allen instead of Sabonis that was at the bottom of that foot stomp by Draymond Green.
He's just come back.
There would have been no suspension if it was Grayson Allen. People would have just said it was retribution and justified for all the shit that Grayson Allen did while he was a dirty player at Duke. And Coach K with the sanctimonious, it's the love of the game, and it's all about the game, and all of that stuff that he gives you, justifying it and condoning this kind of play by Grayson Allen, going, well, he's just a kid, you know. It's like, you know what? Fuck you, Coach K. Kid's a dirty player, man. You shouldn't even have him on your roster after some of this stuff, the atrocities that he committed while playing at Duke. And yet we were forced to listen to Jay Billis justify these moves and say, well, you know what? I mean, it's a physical game. Okay, Jay. Let this guy put a knee in your, groin area while you're going for a basket, and or low bridge you as you're going in for a layup, even though he has no chance to make the block, or trip you, or grab you. I mean, he's a guy that you have trouble rooting for. You found it surprising he was actually still in the NBA. He had a little streak there when I was watching. He hit 3 straight 3-pointers, nothing but net. And that was at a time where the Heat were sort of, like all NBA teams that are trailing by 30 do. That they find a way to scratch their way to be back within. Oh, look at that! They're back within 17, and you're thinking it's possible that without Antetokounmpo as a metronomic presence there on offense and defense, somebody that's going to steady the ship no matter what the problem is, that maybe they chipped their way back into this thing, but they never did. And even though the closing margin was only 16, it didn't really matter. It was academic. Pretty much, you would have to say the Heat scored the first 7 of the third quarter. And Budenholzer got a quick timeout. So they went from being down 26 to 19. At that stage, if they could have just kept that going and chipped away at this thing, they might have been able to get it inside of 10 points by the end of the third and been in there with a shot. But it was not their night. That was clearly evident almost from the middle of the second. Well, I mean, from the end of the first quarter on, that was it. Just wasn't going to be their night. So where does that leave you? It leaves you thinking that they split with Milwaukee, the 2 games here, and then end up losing in 6. Is that how it goes?
I could see them splitting.
Is that the script?
I could see them winning. Yeah, the script, exactly. I can see them winning game 3, losing game 4, so they'd be down, or they'd be 2-2. They go to game 5 at Milwaukee, they lose, go down 3-2, and then they go home for game 6, and Milwaukee closes them out. That's what I can see from last night. Last night's game was your chance at trying to win this series. Like, if Milwaukee can do that without Giannis, he'll come back. He won't be himself, but he'll be enough. And that's when you'll really feel the hero loss. I don't think last night was hero, because Hero's not good defensively. Last night was their defense.
No.
Their offense wasn't
I tell you, he's not good defensively, and we know this because he doesn't play anymore. It's Duncan Robinson.
Yeah,
wow.
Robinson. Yeah, Robinson.
Wow, rough. Bam Adebayo was no match for Lopez on the inside either. Neither were. I mean, do they even have another big man that can combat this guy?
No, it's him, Love, and Zeller, who are all stretch 4s.
Yeah.
They don't have a big. That's the problem. And Dedmon was the big, and he sucked, and they traded him. They don't have size. They can't, because Lopez isn't even a big. He likes Greece. He's
usually on the outside. I mean, he's a shot blocker, but he's usually on the outside offensively. And if nothing else, I mean, they throw the ball into him, and he usually dishes it back out to a 3-point shooter if he's not taking one himself. All right, we'll see what happens there. A very unfavorable result last night. Is that enough to sway you? I mean, obviously it has. It's buried your thought that the Heat have any chance in the series.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they had a big chance in the series regardless. It was just you win the first game and you were missing arguably the best player in the NBA. So you would think, you're in a good spot.
What an opportunity blown, yeah.
That was it. And that's what I said. I was talking to Mayo, because Mayo was like, the 8 points a sucker.
But Mayo is, so cynical at this point that I'm not sure that it's fair to, go ahead and offer up his judgment as fact.
He's like, the Heat are going to get blown out. And I'm like, and I couldn't fight that because you were confident they'll figure it out. And I'm like, nothing about this year has said they will. Nothing. This has been the exact script the entire season, where
this is true, yeah.
They'll win 2 or 3 in a row. They'll face a Hornets team that's beleaguered. Nice. They're going to win 4 in a row, get to that 5th seed. Perfect spot for the playoffs. And then they lose by 20 to the Hornets. So I was like, okay.
I mean, you're thinking they have the better coach on the floor. They have, the guy that's most likely to be the, deciding factor in a game in Jimmy Butler. And unable to match strides with what you thought was kind of a scrub unit of Milwaukee Bucks to get blown out like that was an embarrassment. All right, the Panthers now and the Bruins. It seemed like an insurmountable hill to climb to beat the number 1 seed, an historically good Boston Bruins team. This guy, Ullmark, had been sensational. The Bruins were giving up 2.5 goals a game for the season. The Bruins had only lost at home 4 times in regulation all year long, Mike Lubie Lubitz, if you can imagine. I mean,
Oh,
4
Jesus.
losses across the entire season, 41 games. I guess they had, probably had lost a couple of others in overtime,
Yeah, but
but
still.
they only had 4 regular season losses at home this year, and then beyond that, I think there was only 1 or 2 other times where they lost it by more than 1 goal at home.
That's crazy.
So to get beaten that handily in the third period, what was quite exceptional on the part of the Florida Panthers, who come back home now, and I don't know what their home record is, but I would imagine it's very favorable. And the Boston Bruins did lose to the Florida Panthers a couple of times this year. I'm thinking both of those games were at the Panthers Arena, South Florida Live Arena. And is that our arena? Do we own it? I mean, should we not sue them for naming rights? Isn't it called South Florida Live Arena?
I think so. They don't have
That's our channel, Lubie. Did they get there first?
Yes, it's been the name of their arena for a couple of years before.
Oh shit!
Our YouTube.
So we could be sued. I'm surprised Doug Seafood hasn't called with a cease and desist, Lubie.
It's as long as it's like you can have the same name in different genres of business.
Yeah,
you can't in the same genre of business.
Well, we didn't even think of that. I wouldn't have been able to tell you the name of the arena until
I don't know. I
realized it's the same as our channel.
Taking your word for it.
Yeah.
No one wanted to sponsor it.
Yeah,
that's why it's called.
That's something. Imagine you can't even sell the naming rights to your building here in South Florida. With a team that was the best in hockey last year throughout the entire regular season, and then made a major blockbuster deal to try and bolster what they were able to do in the postseason. They were certainly postseason tough. I mean, they were not outclassed in game 1.
No.
And I mean, it was dead even. I thought the play, the Panthers really struggled to get the puck out of their own end. And that's, I mean, they make some seriously bad turnovers in their own end.
Yes.
Boston very good at forechecking like that, and they continuously harassed the Panthers and created monster opportunities. They could have easily had 3 or 4 more goals in that game. Many people thought that the Panthers could have scored a few extra also, but Ullmark has been sensational until he got to the third period, and all of a sudden he looked like Bobrovsky in there. Blind in one eye. What? So there's optimism, though. Yeah, I mean, we knew this, that if there was going to be an upset, this isn't, I mean, is it officially a 1 versus 8? Is that the way? And it's hard to figure how the qualifiers are for the playoffs in hockey, because you have like 6 teams that make it and 2 wild cards. I'm not sure, but to play the number 1 seed, they had to be, I guess, the 8th seed.
Yes.
Into the first round in the Eastern Conference. And while it's not uncommon, and the Bruins may get it together. I mean, maybe that was just a lapse on their part in that third period, but the Panthers have demonstrated that they're perfectly capable of going toe-to-toe with the Boston Bruins. And we'll see if that series gets extended, and maybe even, who knows, right? I mean, stranger things have happened. The Panthers win game 3, and then you have what? A pivotal game 4. Which will be followed by a pivotal game 5, 6, and possibly a pivotal game 7 if necessary. All right, Dave Gurggles Gergely going to join us. We're going to do a little trivia challenge here. We'll have more analysis on that. There were other games, too, that took place. NBA last night. You had the Grizzlies without John Morant beat the Lakers. They were hammering them throughout. They ended up winning by 10.
Game.
Denver pulled away late from Minnesota and beat them 122 to 113. Also on the ice last night, the New York Islanders had Carolina by the jugular. They were up 2-0. They lose 4-3 in overtime, go down 2-0 in that series. The Dallas Stars came back and even their series at Minnesota 7-3, and Edmonton evened up with LA with a 4-2 win on their home ice. So those series are now 1 apiece. The Marlins lose yesterday 5-2. Your man Avisail Garcia up with the bases loaded, 10th inning. And let's see, how did it go? Struck out. Bases loaded, and then they lose it in the 11th as they gave up a couple of home runs, and that was that. So much for the luxury of thinking that the Marlins were alive, at least for one game. They ended up getting tagged, and 5-2. Aaron Judge with a couple of big plays for the Yankees yesterday. If you saw the defensive highlights on SportsCenter, robs Ohtani of a home run, then makes a diving Swoboda-like catch in right center field. So doing it with the glove as well as the bat, had a home run in the game as well. Here's Dave Gurggles Gergely, ladies and gentlemen. ready to conduct the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. David, how are you? You look good today, my friend.
Feeling good. Busy as always. We're approaching some busy times. I've got this is our version of the Ryder Cup here at Miami Lakes, called the Senator Cup, named for Senator Bob Graham. So we got a big weekend. We've also got a junior tournament with 130 kids, I think, on Sunday.
Wow!
And then
next
you love Thursday,
that.
Unfortunately,
you a big fan of kids. Yeah.
Well, they handle it. I just say hello to them and have fun, kids. But they can play. And then next Thursday, unfortunately, I've got an early tournament, so I won't be here. Thursday after that, I'll be back in the saddle again. But it's a busy time between now and June 9th, I think. I've got a bunch of different events coming up, but that's okay. Glad to be here.
Well, and the weather cleared out, and so it's been beautiful.
Yeah, finally.
You couldn't ask for a more Chamber of Commerce type weather there for golf. Yeah, that's going to be great. All right. And have you been following any of this sporting activity, or are you pretty much, just smoking cigars and drinking
the sport
scotch?
I watched last night was I watched Humphrey Bogart as a sports writer in the Harder They Fall.
Yeah.
And but I don't think the Heat will get by Milwaukee because they can't stop Bobby Dandridge. I don't. And Hodge and Marcotte and the Bruins are a little too tough for the Panthers. Other than that, I'm up to date.
Now, is it still very sports oriented? The club there, the restaurant, what was Shula's Steak 2?
Well, Steak 2 is called Miami Lake Steaks and Sports, and I'm sure that was rocking last night. I haven't worked there in a while, but that's still a busy spot. Great food. They're doing fine over in the hotel. We're about to tear down all this stuff you see here beginning of July, and we'll be in some double wide trailers out there and operating out of there. But I'll still be with you then. So big things are happening here. We've got a brand new clubhouse, brand new driving range, all kinds of stuff, new management, and I'll be hanging around a little bit with them too.
I was just wondering because you used to host events there, and it was always a great place. I mean, they did a tremendous job with you in charge of promoting this stuff as a sports bar, and crowds would gather there for these kind of games. We haven't really sensed any kind of playoff fever with certainly not with the Panthers. Maybe now people will wake up to it that they beat the Bruins in a game, or to a lesser extent, the Miami Heat seemed like people were somewhat indifferent. Have you seen any increase in a number of people going in there, or felt any enthusiasm?
People, Miami fans are up and down. They get beat after last night's game. People are saying, "Oh, don't worry, the Heat are done." After the first game from the Bruins, they probably said, "Oh, the Panthers can't keep up with the Bruins." Then the Panthers win, and the Heat win. So that's just the Miami fans. There are Otis Elevator fans, if you will, up and down.
Up and down. That was the name of a horse I think they ran yesterday at Keeneland. I think it was a winner. It was a 7-ball. I took particular notice of that. All right. We're going to come back with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. You can dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. Hialeah Park, always a great place to go, man. And that would be a great place to take in all of these playoff games, too. I would imagine it's going to be rocking over the weekend, right? And you don't have to leave after the game's over. You can hang out till 5 a.m. and gamble your brains out. We do have, the big races coming up, the Triple Crown events. It was spectacular last year. We happened to be out there in conjunction with a boxing event that was taking place the same day and caught the Kentucky Derby, and that was fantastic. Champion Simulcasting Room, always a great place to punch away, especially with some of the illustrious stuff that's going on right now with Keeneland still going, I think, for another week and a half. And, that's been great. And you really get the atmosphere in Champions. And then, of course, you can punch away those Royal Reels. I don't think you're not really a slot player, but if you were going to dabble in slots, Royal Reels seems like the way to go, even though I don't fully understand how you win. But I always see, I don't know. It's like you got this, you got that, you got like a couple of kings, and all of a sudden you've won like 38,000. I wish that would happen to me, but it's happening to a lot of people at Hialeah Park. They really know how to do it.
Absolutely.
Steve Calabro runs a great casino, and I'm a big fan of the food at Hialeah Park. Always have been. I don't know if you remember, dining there back in the day, but there was always the opportunity to, maybe even get a table in a turf club once in a while, and have some of the great food they had
up in the citation room. Yeah, beautiful. They do a great job there, and the food is terrific. Larry Little, of course, has his big event there every year. Tony Segreto, the MC, a lot of times, but just for a day to step into the past and the future at the same time, go to Hialeah Park. They've got the future of gaming with all the great machines, and they've got a little bit of history of the past with all the photos and the flamingos and everything. It's a real one-day getaway, Hialeah Park.
Yeah, always a good vibe in there too, which is favorable development. When you walk into a casino, you hear people cheering and it's lively, and you hear a buzz in there. You're thinking, okay, good things are happening here. I'll try my luck and hopefully have some really good fortune, which a lot of people do at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, jump on board if you want to play. 954-417-0070. Dave Gurggles Gergely going to conduct the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. That's right around the corner here on the Defo Show on this great Thursday here in South Florida and around the country, around the world, where you're catching us on the stream on South Florida Live. We'll be back with Dave and the Trivia Challenge in a moment. Now that. It's 7:38.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante. The Belmont's now a mile and an 8. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici just switched the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Good to be with you here on this Thursday. Dave Gurggles Gergely getting set to get all those brain teasers going for the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. If you want to play, it's 954-417-0070. I do have a note here from the Polyman, and I'm going to take the liberty of going ahead and relaying it. It is his analysis of the Kentucky Derby, and we know this. The Polyman, from whom you just heard with that brilliant operatic version of Solo Volante, who unfortunately finished up the track with Luca Panici in the Belmont Stakes. That was what, about 2-3 years ago? We were broadcasting from Hialeah Park, and he came up with that brilliant rendition of the racetrack song. But he says, early Derby factoids. Okay, this is what he sent me. I don't know. Did you get this also, Gurggles? Okay.
No.
So this is a first time unveiling. And, like I said, I feel I'm at liberty to give it out because Polyman used to give out his picks for the Derby all the time. Says he had Blazing Sevens and Red Route 1 in the futures. The former, Blazing Sevens, may not go and looks to have tailed off. Later, unlucky missed points. Japanese horses are dangerous, but Professor Toro Tanaka's DQ versus San Martino in the pin or leave town rematch, so wait and see on that. He says the pick is verifying Tyler Gaffalione. Verifying. He also had a theory about Forte. Let's see. I don't want to leave that out. Okay. Second choice, practical move eliminated with West Coast. Anti-bias. Practical move was the winner of the Santa Anita Derby and has been, I think, might be unbeaten. And Forte eliminated favorite, just throwing the favorite out. That was part one of the Polyman's theory. Verifying Tyler Gaffalione winner. Angel of Empire completes a Brad Cox exacta.
Wow.
Is it Mage? Third? Mage?
Yeah, Mage. Yep.
Pletcher, roundabout top 5 with King's Barn and Tapit Trice. Here's your 1, 2, 3 finishers in the Derby. Calling to the King of All Futures, the Polyman, verifying Angel of Empire and Mage. I would suggest People, you make note of that, though, because
Wow.
this guy has been brilliant in Kentucky Derbies in the past. So if anybody has a clear, clairvoyant view of what's going to happen in the Kentucky Derby, it would be our esteemed colleague, the Polyman. And he's going against the chalk. You know there'll be a pile of money on Forte. What do you think? Did Forte's last race overwhelmingly impress you, or did it make you think that this horse was vulnerable?
Well, I mean, he ran a terrific race, but the Derby is a whole different matter. If you're going to have 20 horses and traffic to get through in there, it looks like all of Paulie's picks are either on the lead or stalkers, according to their form. Empire of Angels, I think it is, but Verifying and Meiji, they're all close to the front. Meiji had one bad race and everybody threw him out. I'm a little bit of a fan of Tapatrice, and I like King's Barn a little bit too.
Yeah, I was sold that Tapatrice was back wheel special material, especially in the Bluegrass, which of course he won, while looking very likely to maybe end up being either second or third. But the way I was swinging at the time, you had to figure that he was going to somehow get the head bob there and cost me whatever money I had on the race. But we'll see. That's around the corner, just a couple of weeks away. 2 weeks from this Saturday. It'll be the first Saturday in May. All right, ready to go with the trivia challenge? Talk about Kentucky Derby type competition. That's what this has been over the years. What is it now, Gurggles? 26, 27 years we've been doing this thing?
Probably 26, 27. Paul is the official timekeeper, and nobody knows but him.
Yeah, and since I'm not sure. I mean, is he still keeping track of this stuff? That'd be the question. Because we've been doing this. I'm going to say 27 years we've been doing this. We were like 25 on the radio, and now about 2 years into the streaming portion of the version of the show. All right, you ready to go here, Dave Gurggles Gergely? Because we have players lined up. 954-417-0070. And in honor of the Polyman, the man who when. We always say desperation is the mother of invention. We were broke, had an opportunity to put a show together. We got stiffed by a local racetrack on some advertising, and we decided, hey, let's try something else. Ran into your man from Sony at the track one day, oddly enough, where all business is conducted by degenerates. And he said, yeah, sure, I'll get you some money to sponsor this thing. So up came and arose the Trivia Challenge, which the format's been essentially the same forever, except when Al Winters was co-hosting the show very briefly before you came on board and offered 11 choices. We were already, H is Lou Gehrig. So in honor of the Polyman, let's start the game in the traditional fashion with Dave Gurggles Gergely as the Polyman and some.
Easy baseball. This Mets original manager on his team's struggle said, I don't know. We're in such a slump that even the ones that aren't drinking aren't hitting. What's that? Casey Stengel, Casey Kasem, Casey and the Sunshine Band, or Casey Jones?
All right, here's a random phone scrambler. Mike Lubie at the controls here. And we have Ron. Ron is going to start us off today. Ron, welcome to the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Hello.
Good morning, fellas. Let's go with A.
A is correct. You have 1 point. Good start to the game.
Baseball, Ron. True or false? Believe it or not, talk about crazy items on eBay. For $100, you can get a Don Russ Bozo the Clown rookie card. True or false?
Wow.
I don't know. Let's go true.
That's true?
That's true. But a bat and everything like that. Yeah, unbelievable.
For a Bozo the Clown rookie card?
That's right.
Is he wearing a Marlin hat?
Yeah, any chance? He had a better year than Mike Ugla did, I think.
It could be Abigail Garcia. I mean, it very easily could be him. All right, 2 going for 5.
All right, NBA basketball, Ron. Which NBA player holds the record with 18 blocks in a 3-game playoff series? Andrew Bynum, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell, or Manute Bol?
Wow.
Let's go Andrew Bynum.
That's what I would have said. No?
It was the human pinstripe, Manute Bol.
Well, the only reason, we would have gone with Bynum because who would have ever put him on that list?
It's either Bynum or Bol or the
Manute Bol, though, good choice. All right, 2 going for 7 here, Ron, to take the lead and establish the pace of the game.
Ron. Tennis. Who was the first pro tennis player to go over $1 million in career earnings?
Wow.
What's that? Pancho Seguro, Rod Laver, John Newcomb, or Martina Navratilova?
Good one.
Oh boy. Let's go Pancho Segura.
I'm going to go Newcomb.
No.
Martina?
Rod Laver.
Oh, Laver. Okay.
Rod Laver.
We're good.
Crafty lefty.
Very good. All right, Ron, surprisingly comes up relatively empty here and doesn't tally a total worthy of being in the finals. That clears up a line. Well, it clears up the only line at 954-417-0070. Is Shirley getting calls from people that want to play? I mean, are they dialing up your home number too, Lubie, on this thing? 954-417-0070 if you'd like to play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And we'll play as many as we can before we get to the finals. And then, of course, try to determine a champion. And the winner is going to get a gift certificate to Landlubbers, where Lubie will be tonight with a live version of the trivia competition, and many of the featured players that we've had over the weeks here on the Defo show on our new streaming version of the game. We'll be lining up later on tonight at Landlubbers trying to win it. And these guys are real pros, man. They're on the circuit all the time. So let's try and find some more brilliance here from our viewing and listening audience. Our next set of questions on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, the great Dave Gurggles Gergely.
All right. Boxing. This rather rotund fighter on his upcoming bout with the very fit Evander Holyfield said, the difference between Holyfield and me is he's got a nutritionist and I've got room service. What's that? George Foreman, George Jetson, George Goebel, or Barnes & Noble?
I tell you what, on that front, the long and the short of it, you're going to have Tyson Fury, who's like 7 feet tall, fighting Andy Ruiz, the little fat Mexican guy who won the championship by knocking out Joshua in an improbable event after he'd been on the floor like 3 times himself. And he goes about 5'6". He was about 300 pounds at 5'6". So you got a 7-footer against a guy 5'6". That's going to look pretty funny when they get in the ring. All right, their scrambler lands on the Chronic. Lenny the Chronic can't keep this man away, nor do we want to. We love Lenny, a longtime follower of the program. Lenny, welcome to the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge.
How you doing, guys?
Chronic, there you are. Chronic, are you with us? There you go.
How you doing, guys?
Very good.
How you doing, guys?
We're doing well.
Everything's good.
Don't repeat yourself. All right. Golf, Lenny, true or false? Bob Keeshan, who many people remember, played Captain Kangaroo on television for many years, was actually an accomplished amateur golfer and finished second along with Dr. Kerry Middlecoff in the Bing Crosby Pro-Am of 1962. True or false?
I'm going to go false. I think Mr. Green Jeans was the better golfer.
That's false. That's false. You're right.
He had the Mark Davis haircut, too, the old ball cut. Bob Keeshan. He was brilliant, though, in his role as Captain Kangaroo. 2 for 2, Lenny. Very surprising. Comes up with the true-false question and a correct answer. So, once again, dare we say it, Gurggles? Do we jinx this if we say it? Alive for the sweep. Here we go. 3-point question.
He's got no chance. All right, baseball, Lenny. Who was the very first player to homer in back-to-back games on Team USA in the World Baseball Classic? Was that Prince Fielder, Adam Dunn, Joey Votto, or Derek Lee?
Oh, Jesus.
Boy.
Let's go with Derek Lee, homegrown guy.
With Derek Lee.
Oh,
Got it. Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
Oh,
Derek
Jesus.
Lee. He's hitting about a $150
Exactly.
when he was named the starting first baseman over Kevin Millar with the Marlins that one year, where Dave Dombrowski swore on a stack of Bibles like he was Donald Trump that it was a wide open competition to get the first base job. I think Millar hit 450 in spring training, and they gave the job to Derek Lee. Excellent fielder, though. All right, you have 5. I mean, that was a devious and a dastardly category there, Gurggles. I mean, World Baseball Classic, back-to-back home runs or consecutive.
Yeah, that's great. Crazy.
Hey,
what can you do here?
Answer. That's it.
What can you do here, Gurgs? Where are you going?
Well, we'll give him a 5-point question. NBA. In the 1996 NBA Western semifinals between Seattle Supersonics and the Houston Rockets, Sonics set a then NBA record for most three-pointers in a playoff game that were made. How many did they make?
All right.
18, 20, 22, or 24?
Let's go with 18.
That's what I would have said.
You only missed it by 2. 20.
Oh, yeah.
20
All
was
right.
the total.
Not bad,
I hate to
pal.
give numerology questions, but it was Lenny. You got to give him a tough
Well,
one.
you'd think back then they didn't hoist as many. I mean, the reliance on the three-point shot wasn't as extreme as it is now, where you had Milwaukee last night. I think that was only a franchise record of 25 three-pointers
Right.
that they made in the game. Although they were hitting from the Coke machine. They couldn't miss last night. All right, Gurggles, Perdomo Cigars. We'll play some more. And go ahead and dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. Perdomo Cigars. Always a good thing. I'm watching the action at Keeneland. It was a beautiful day out there yesterday. And I'm thinking, I've been walking around the apron many times. And the waft of cigar smoke, you get that, as part of the atmosphere there, which is very much, the typical of a racetrack. And you know what? You could almost sense, when you walk by a pocket of cigar smoke, where the Perdomo cigar smoke is coming from, because it's of such a high quality, aromatic
and
bliss.
it goes in. Perdomo cigars go anywhere. I mean, people at weddings, outdoor weddings, will celebrate with a Perdomo cigar. People after divorces will celebrate with a Perdomo cigar. Or you don't have to go to the Maldives, but right here at Miami Lakes Golf Club, we sell them right in the pro shop, right in the bullpen snack bar, Perdomo cigars, and you can get them straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, right at Perdomo's factory office right here at 5150 Northwest 167th Street, about 5 minutes from our golf course. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go in there, see Nick, see Donnie, the guy out the front. He'll direct you to the humidor that our late great friend, the Mad Dog, built. And get yourself a Lot 23 and Edition do Silvio 20th anniversary Connecticut wrapper, Maduro wrapper. They make them perfect one at a time. So Father's Day is coming up. What a great gift for a box of cigars from Perdomo, or a gift card to Perdomo Cigars. So today, tomorrow, this weekend, whatever the case, just to celebrate the fact that rain stopped, put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
Well done. And I hope you have that picture framed somewhere and hanging in your house. Did you ever get a big print of that? Because, that's a classic Gurggles picture. That should be on your headstone. I mean, I don't know if you're going the cremation route like I am, which is very un-Jewish like, but nonetheless, I think it has to happen. And I do believe now, Lubie, are you going to be responsible, or do I have to make that a family thing?
It'll be Jesse and I presume Jesse and I will get together and spread them accordingly.
Do we have to clear now at Billy Badgett? Maybe Frank Fiore might let us do it at Hialeah Park, which is also appropriate, because I did have many horses die at the 16th pole there.
I presume between Hialeah and Gulfstream, they'll get spread evenly.
I mean, do we throw some wherever whatever happens to be in the spot where the Calder racetrack was? I guess the racetrack part of it is still separate. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get that done. Anyway, yeah. You should have that picture on your headstone, though, Gurggles, because that is classic Gurggles. That's how you lived your life. All right, we're going to come back with more. We'll play some more, guys. 954. What were you going to say?
I was saying I'm negotiating with Shirley MacLaine to just come back and do something else, so I don't have to really go. That's who we'll see.
Good luck with that.
I'm trying to convince myself that there's evidence that I've lived before and will live again, but I'm having trouble doing that. As they say, when the music's over, turn out the lights. Turn out the lights. That's it, man. It's all over. I was searching for this girl kind of online that I knew in high school, right, just to see how her life went, see if I might be able to get some kind of communication going. And this is always sad when it happens, because I finally, after sort of years of peripherally searching for this, not like I was obsessed with it or anything, but I'd look here and there, maybe see if I could find something. Finally, found her on an in memoriam list from my high school. You're like, wow, how is that possible, man? I mean, but it was an extensive list of people from the class from '69. It's a short trip, my friends. Enjoy it while you can. And the only two words that I can possibly give as philosophical advice is, and this is true for you too, Libby, let go. Let go of it all. Just let go of it all and have yourself a good time. All right, we'll have some more fun here on the Trivia Challenge, and we will be with you until 9 o'clock today here on the show. So we'll be back with more in a moment. Mike Mayo with the Gambling Gourmet's version of the Mike Mayo Lunchbox. He's not really the Gambling Gourmet on the Mike Mayo Lunchbox. He's actually like, let's eat South Florida guy. He's more dignified than he would be if I guess if he was just some degenerate gambler who happened to like to eat, which we all do. But anyway, that's coming your way at 12 o'clock, and we'll be back with more with Dave in a moment. Now that.
The time.
Did he mention how that blind date went that he had, where the woman? Do you ever have this happen to you? I could see you doing this, where you put up for a bid at an auction, as a bachelor, and women bid on getting a date with you. Did that ever happen in your years working at Shula's, where they arranged
No,
some
I
kind of charity auction like that?
I emceed some of them where they bid on other guys, but
Yeah.
no, I would no thanks. Keep me out of that stuff.
This happened to Mayo yesterday. I don't know if it was could a guy have bid on having lunch with Mike Mayo? Or
yes, it wasn't a date. It wasn't romantic. It was just to be in the presence of the food critic extraordinaire, Mike Mayo.
Oh, okay.
You get to have lunch with a guy who's going to sit there and make a face every time they bring out like some amazing dish. You go, a little too much curry on this one. No, he's great. I mean, because he eats anything, and I will have to get details of this maybe on the show. No, because it was a lovely young lady that met him, very hot babe, and he tried to be on his best behavior. I think. I don't think he slobbered down the food like he does on the lunch breaks.
Supposedly he was a human being. We'll see.
Remember that time Lenny had that cheeseburger that they brought out when we were doing the show, the Hialeah Park show, at it was then Shula's, right? And they brought out like a bunch of dishes, and then like 3 of them were missing right away. And we looked over, and Lenny had them all. That was that's Mayo. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
Thank you, Johnny. It's 7:59. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
The lovely Debbie Boone joins us here. The song You Light Up My Life. And it's one of those songs that, well, at least for some period of time, I think in virtually every human being, no matter what language they speak, that it was in their head for a period of time, to the point where everybody walked around with that You Light Up My Life on their mind, right? Which has to be a sensational tribute and distinction for anybody that's in the music business.
Well, for the most part, yes. And I am very, very grateful. But a few people did want to break that vinyl over my head.
Here's your record, Debbie. I'm using it as a Frisbee. What are you talking about?
Buenos dias. The cafecito is piping hot. Why not enjoy it with Defo and Lubie? It's now time for the Defo Show.
That was great, by the way. Debbie Boone making that crack about You Light Up My Life.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What was worse, having that in your head or I Am Woman with Helen Reddy? But Boone surprised us, Gurggles. She was your type of girl. Debbie Boone, I guess, she might be in her 80s now or something. But
It was funny.
Yeah, she was really, really funny. And you were thinking when this interview was scheduled, it was another one of those Lubie, let's placate the PR people that are helping us out with real guests, that are desirable. And, so we went ahead and did it. And she couldn't have been any more delightful. She was absolutely fantastic.
That's great.
one of the better interviews we've
I like
had.
to hear that.
All right, back into the game here. Dave Gurggles Gergely conducting the trivia challenge. We have the Chronic with 5. He's in the lead, not an unfamiliar situation for us to contend with here. And we'll play as many as we can at 954-417-0070. Our next set of questions is straight ahead here with Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Another boxing quote. This Hall of Fame sports writer on a prominent fighter said, "I'd like to borrow Cassius Clay's body for 48 hours. There are 3 guys I'd like to beat up and 4 women I'd like to sleep with." What's that? Jim Murray, Jan Murray, Arthur Murray, or B. Arthur?
His best line ever, Jim Murray, I think, was when he described Tommy Lasorda as looking like a curveball with legs. Which, that was a great characterization.
He's a great writer.
All right, we have a Mike on the line. Is this Mike Mayo or is this the Chronic's Mike? Mike?
Not a Chronics, Mike. He's our Chronic.
Our Chronic, Mike. Mike, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, A.
Hey, it's Craig. Very familiar with the
Baseball,
strategies
Mike.
of the game. Yes.
Baseball, Mike, true or false? Believe it or not, 76-year-old Bill Spaceman Lee is currently pitching for the Savannah Bananas of the Independent League. True or false?
Oh, that's true.
True?
Yeah.
True.
That is true. Yeah.
You're a giant
He is a
Spaceman Lee
character.
fan. Yeah. Where was it you met
I
him? Somewhere
up
in New Hampshire or something? You were doing a
Yeah,
Maine?
no, I met him up in Maine for the Special Olympics golf tournament. Yeah, he makes his own wine, makes his own bats, still looks great. Real good guy. Leslie Visser had the great quote by Bill Spaceman Lee when he said, Bob Gibson's going to the Hall of Fame and I'm going to Shorty's Bar in North Boston. It was a great quote by him. Yep.
Spaceman had a couple of really good seasons for the Red Sox. Remember, he was very effective for a period of time. Yeah, and it figures that he would bond with a member of our cast and crew, because didn't you guys become fast buddies there? You were hanging out for quite a bit.
Well, him and actually the guy that gave up Hank Aaron's 714th home run. Oh, Cactus Jack from the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh yeah,
Cactus Jack.
McDowell?
Yep.
Jack McDowell.
He was no, Cactus Jack.
Black Jack.
I can't even remember it now. I had to take my Prevagen this morning. I'm sorry.
All right.
Anyway.
That was one of our questions, by the way, Gurgle. So you missed a
okay.
pointer. Okay, here we go. We have Mike ready to go. What? He's got 2 points.
This will be his
3-point question.
3-point question coming up. Golf. Who was the first PGA golfer to shoot his age in a PGA tournament? Okay. Julius Boris, Byron Nelson, Gary Player, or Sam Snead?
Let's go with Gary Player.
Gary Player.
Actually, Sam Snead at age 67 in the Quad Cities Open shot 67. The next day, he shot 66.
Wow.
Great Sam Snead, who was known to be, imagine this, in a door jam, and sitting in the middle of a door jam with the door open, he could kick his foot up and touch the top of the door jam.
Jesus.
Wow. Talk about flexibility. Unbelievable.
Sammy Snead. Yeah, he wasn't exactly
Sammy
svelte,
Snead.
though, was he? Jack
Oh,
Billingham.
yeah, he was. He was a
Lenny
tall Jack Billingham. That's right.
Is that the guy?
It's
Okay.
Cactus Jack Billingham.
Very nice.
All right.
5-point question. Going
5-point
for
question
7.
coming up. Which Philadelphia Phillies player scored the run that snapped Don Drysdale's 58-game scoreless streak?
Nice.
Was that Johnny Callison, Tony Gonzalez, Cookie Rojas, or Tony Taylor?
Callison.
Johnny Callison.
Number 8, Tony Taylor. He used to come up to the plate like that and do the sign of the cross. Yep.
All right. Mike bombs out, but still possible to get to the finals here. 954-417-0070. If you'd like to join us and play the game, we'll play one more and then get to the championship round and decide who wins the Landlubber's gift certificate and also has and will forever bear the distinction of having been a champion on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. While we get our next player together, Hialeah Park, once again, open till 5 a.m. on the weekends. I can't believe it how quickly. Is it happening to you, Gurggles? I guess it's happening to a lesser extent to Lubie, because he just, recently hit 40. But as you get up there in years, man, time in general goes flying by. as evidenced by my search for this young lady named Kathy, who ended up in memoriam there on the Belmore Kennedy alumni list. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it zaps by, and here we are already on the threshold of another weekend where you got till 5 a.m. action at Hialeah Park in a casino.
Oh
So,
yeah. And then you go out, go home, get a little break, or come in the morning at 9 o'clock when they open, get a great breakfast in the casino there. A terrific breakfast on a full belly and then a little cup of cafecito. Try your luck on the slots. And when you win the money on the slots, before you know it, you go right over to Champions and bet the races at 12:30, 1 o'clock. So it's got everything there.
Cuban sandwich, my favorite on the way out there. The medianoche. I love that, man.
Cuban sandwich.
And the medianoche is like the small version. So I always
sweet one. They do Cuban sandwich on Cuban bread, and then they do a Cuban sandwich on a sweet bread.
Okay.
Medianoche is the one on the sweet bread. It's
I thought the medianoche was like a mini version of the Cuban sandwich.
Medianoche is actually a different sandwich. It's the same components, but on a sweet bread as opposed to just a straight up Cuban bread.
Obviously, I wasted that money on that Berlitz course in Spanish.
It's not a name. It's just
right. I'm ordering what I think is half a Cuban sandwich, and it's like, what's this? Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, on the way out the door there, I mean, and the valet parker always tries to confiscate that sandwich, just saying, I'm sorry, you can't take that food out of here, even though it's true, because it's so good that they want to just at least get a bite. Then they hand you back the sandwich. It's fantastic. Now, the food at Hialeah Park is absolutely dynamite. Open till 5 a.m. on the weekends, 3 a.m. on the weekdays. Great place to punch away. Champion simulcasting room. Poker room is outstanding as well, and the casino is always rocking at Hialeah Park. All right, we'll get our last player in regulation here, and then go to the finals. So here's Dave Gurggles Gergely with our last set of questions.
Golf. This caddy on an extremely tough layout on the U.S. Open course said, now I figured out why they took 8,000 trees out at Oakmont and chopped them down. It's so that when the people play it, it's that tough they won't hang themselves. What's that? Vern Tess, Jackie Vernon Downs, or you Downs?
This man should have an edge in that question, in the answering of that question, because he was a golf writer. Part of his time at the Sun Sentinel. A celebrity player joins us right now, and I don't know if we're going to get the details of this blind date that he had yesterday, but the great Mike Mayo of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox fame joins us here on the show. Michael, how are you?
All right.
I'm doing well this morning, guys. Can you hear me? I'm trying to get my walk of life in because I got a big dinner tonight at the Runway 84.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Anthony's. Yeah. Yeah, there's a guy at the bar. Never mind. I won't go into that. All right. Yeah.
Did you already? Oh, yeah. He's already put in a word for the freebies, though. Yeah. He's already contacted all three owners of Anthony's Runway 84, telling him he was coming in tonight. He's looking forward to seeing him. How's the walk going? Where are you? On the beach?
No, I was stuck at a drawbridge. I'm still in the car, so I'm about to get out and do it. But no, we're talking about Defo's demise this morning. But meanwhile, I'm thinking like I texted into Lubie that I would help out with the scattering of the ashes.
Oh, thank you.
Then I'm thinking but I'm thinking actually with the last longer bet, you might win the last longer bet. Me, because I'm in rough shape at this point. So,
we have to get you going. We have to, sort of get your habitual, love of food to maybe, extend into other areas there. Now, how did it go with this babe? Just real quickly.
All right, so I'm just going to give a teaser because we'll get into it on the lunchbox. But basically, very nice one. We had a great time. Her name was Valerie. But she told me that her strategy when she goes to a bunch of these charity events, and that when they have these silent auctions, her strategy is always to just leave a very low amount and just see if it holds up in the end.
Right.
And then she looked up at me. She's realized that, and she said, "But I didn't mean to insult you." I was like, "Okay, that's all right. I realize I'm very low hanging fruit at this point." And obviously, nobody came in with the higher than the lowest bid for the lunch with Mike Mayo, but it was fun. She's a member of the USD group, and we had a good time.
No one better at those silent auctions in terms of acquisitions than you, Dave Gurggles Gergely. I mean, you've come up with some great stuff through that. Where I always say, hey, I don't have a credit card that I can put out there for fear that I might buy something. which is an unfortunate position to take when you're going to a freebie charity event and eating for free and drinking like a fish. All right, here's your true-false question, Mike Mayo. We want to get you out there on the walk. Here we go.
All right, baseball, true or false, Mike? When Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak stopped at 56 games, he lost out a $10,000 bonus that was to be paid to him if he hit the next game successfully by Heinz 57.
Wow.
True or false?
Oh, man, you keep getting with these Joe DiMaggio questions. Mr. Coffee Maker. I know Mo Engelberg was his lawyer at the end, and it was here in Hollywood, and totally scammed Joe out of $1,000.
That'll be a question next week, Mike.
I'm going to say, this sounds so stupid, I'm going to say true.
It is true? Wow.
Absolutely.
Who would have figured that? So Mo did at least negotiate something decent for him, yeah. All right, 2 for 2. Mike Mayo going for 5, and this will tie you for the lead, so you might have to stick around for the finals.
All right, Mike, in the 1969 finals between the Celtics, they trailed 2-1 when in Game 4, down by 1 point, this guy hit the winning shot to even up the series. Was it Sam Jones, John Havlicek, Tom Chambers, or Don Nelson?
Oh, God.
Wow, I was going to say Kuzi, but that's not even one of them. So I'm going to go
not in 69, no.
Don Nelson.
Don Nelson.
I'm going to go with
Nelson. It was not Don Nelson.
It had to be Sam Jones.
It was Sam Jones, and there's an autograph ball from him right there. My man, beautiful. Sam Jones. Yep.
You became very close with Sam Jones.
He was great.
Oh, what a wonderful person. Well, you saw what a generally nice person he was, too.
Oh, wow. He was a terrific interview, too. Yeah. Yeah, that time he sat down with us, that was also at Shula's when Lenny consumed that burger in Mayo fashion. Just literally swallowed it whole. Sam Jones sat down, and he was fascinating. He really was. And unfortunately, he checked out, about a year later. But he was great. Well, and you got to know him on that cruise, and so you became friends. That was terrific.
In 1999, him and Bailey Howell teaching the little kids on deck how to play defense. While Rick Barry complained about salaries. That's the difference.
Nobody remembers me. All right, 5-point question from Mike Mayo, the gambling gourmet, who'll be coming your way at 12 o'clock
Mike,
with the lunchbox.
NFL draft. In the 1983 NFL draft, the Miami Dolphins, in their first-round pick, the 27th pick overall, took the great Dan Marino. What a great coup for them. Who was their second-round pick that year?
Wow.
Anthony Carter, Reggie Roby, Charles Benson, or Mike Charles?
Jesus.
Wow, this is a good question. 83, I think. Was Roby in 82? I know he was drafted really high as a punter, but I think Roby was in 82. What was the other one? I'm going to say Mike Charles.
That's what I'm going to say. It is Mike Charles.
Well done. The nose tackle. And where did he go to school, Defo?
Mayo man.
Mike Charles went to Allentown Junior College.
How about Syracuse?
Oh, yeah, he was a Cuser. You're right.
That's right.
How would I know that, man? All right, good. Mike Mayo, stay there because we're going to have you in the finals, believe it or not. You have a chance to win. I don't know that you need this. Does Mike have Sufrine's number? You could just text him that he's coming in, and maybe he would be able to exceed the $25 limit that's on this gift certificate, or you can share a table with Lenny and play with the Chronics tonight. Although you don't have to redeem this tonight, Mike Mayo. So hang in there. We're going to match you up against the Chronic. This will be a classic, and we'll have that coming up in just a moment. So tell us about Perdomo Cigars one more time, Dave.
Yeah, now with all the holidays coming up, you don't need a holiday to get a Perdomo cigar. Just go down there and buy some. They have a pack where you can buy 5 different ones, a variety pack. Or if you're a mild cigar smoker and you're used to like an Avo or something like that, or something in that nature, I recommend a Lot 23. Probably cheaper than Avo, but just as good. If you like a nice, strong, like a punch, then I would try the 20th anniversary with a Maduro wrapper. They've got a cigar for everyone's taste. If you're not sure, go online, www.perdomocigars.com. And if you're going Saturday or Sunday and they're closed, that website will tell you the place to find them near you. So this weekend, now that the rain has stopped, it'll probably rain again on the weekend. Whether you're playing golf, whether you're going out on the boat, whether you're just relaxing with friends in your backyard, put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
We'll give Lubie a minute to assemble the finals here. He's doing some scrambling. So we'll have Mike Mayo facing off against the Chronic. That's coming up in just a moment here as we conclude this week's edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, hopefully ending on a very high note. And we'll be back to do that in a moment. Now that
the time.
It's 8:17.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
All right, so you have the poem. Let's do it.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I got DQ'd from the late double. Sorry, no champagne or caviar for you.
Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, ladies and gentlemen.
The only way to get the morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Many new things have come Mayo's way since he left the Sun Sentinel after an illustrious career that spanned over 30 years in a variety of capacities, including, I think, it's interesting because probably the most memorable was the food critic period of his writing career there, although a dynamic sports writer, a real contrarian as a sports writer. And then as a city editor, I mean, everybody in town hates him now. So it's kind of interesting to recall that period of his, journalistic endeavors. And then as a food critic, they all love him. And Let's Eat South Florida. If you're not signed in, which I can't imagine, who isn't signed into that with 102,000 people on board?
Every day, so I guess people keep finding it somehow.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, and a great asset to the community in terms of finding great places, places to eat and all kinds of different things and information about restaurants, including the fetching that goes on.
Constructive criticism, they're really good at that.
Yeah, I tend to ignore, but it drives Mayo up a wall. All right, so we have a classic matchup here: Mike Mayo, longtime sports writer with the Sun Sentinel, Lenny the Chronic, trivia champion extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire.
And here's what's going to happen. Dave's going to fire up a question. You guys call out your name if you want to answer right away. If nobody does, we offer multiple choice. The first person to call out his name gets first chance. And we go back and forth till we have a winner. For the championship of this week's edition of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, here is Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Good luck, guys. Hockey. Who scored the fastest hat trick in NHL history in 21 seconds?
Oh, all right. Anybody? Here's multiple choice.
Is that Bill Esposito, Johnny Busick, Bill Mosienko, or Red Berenson?
I'll take it.
That's Mayo. Yep.
That's Mayo. All right. Mike Mayo.
I'm going to go Phil Esposito.
Espo. No, incorrect. 3 left for Lenny, who strangely remains
It's Lenny's strategy to wait and lay back, Lenny. I know. Let's see if
the
it
other
works.
guy schmank out. Yeah, here we go.
Was it Johnny Busick, Bill Mosienko, or Red Berenson?
I'm going to go with Mosienko.
That's what I'm going to say. All right.
1982 for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Sorry, Mayo, man.
All right, can you text Mike Mayo Sufreen's number so he can get himself a freebie there tonight if he goes?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, at least I got a sandwich named after me.
Which is doing well. I mean, the rave reviews on that thing. The Mike Mayo at Wicked Cheesesteaks, which we have to get in there again.
And with Lenny's gift certificates now, there's the lovely Michelle Bernstein has that nice show on PBS, Check Please.
Yes.
Lenny's getting a show now called No Check Please. So come on, Lenny.
No, that's my show. That's my show.
Oh yeah,
All right.
you can use that title, Mike. That's right.
We'll see you in
Excellent job, gentlemen. Excellent job.
I got to
Yeah.
go to work. See
Dave
you in
Gurggles
2
Gergely,
weeks.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right. No Gurggles next week, but we'll do a trivia challenge. That's enough forewarning for me to try and do a very sloppy episode of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge because, of course, we love promoting the people at beautiful Hialeah Park where you can go and gamble your brains out, have a good time, whether you're betting the ponies, whether you're playing poker, whether you're in the casino, you're playing your favorite Vegas-style games. It's a degenerate's dream and also just an entertainment destination of quite distinct, means because you can go there and just, be wined and dined. I mean, have yourself a great time in any of their restaurants. It's absolutely fantastic. Beautiful place to go. Beautiful Hialeah Park. A tremendous fusion of the old and the new as well. All right, we'll come back with more here on the show and take you up until 9 o'clock. Still have many things to discuss, including those 2 playoff games. Where does this leave us, Lubie? That's the question. Is there anybody with a crystal ball out there that can see what's going to happen? I think the general consensus has been that both the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers were in series that they cannot win. You can't win the Rock. These was good fighters. It was setups. 8 seeds essentially going against number 1 seeds in their respective conferences. And in the case, people had Milwaukee just went with a magic carpet ride into the NBA Finals, in spite of the fact that Boston had a great season. Philadelphia certainly looks formidable. And I'm not sure that the Cavs or the Knicks, whoever prevails in that series, really has the goods to get by any of those top 3 teams. I suppose the most vulnerable, obviously, would be the team that finished third, the Philadelphia 76ers, where Lubie, you refuse to acknowledge that Tyrese Maxey is a hell of a player. I mean, is a guy and a force to be reckoned with, even in playoff situations. That he has emerged and is second only to Embiid in terms of importance on the Philadelphia 76ers, probably more vital than James Harden, the current version of James Harden, which isn't half bad, but still isn't great. Doesn't he look too fat to play in the NBA, James Harden? I mean, he looks like John Bagley. Remember that guy? John Bagley was a Boston College guy who was in the NBA, had the biggest ass in NBA history, even bigger than Wes Unseld. Amazing, and he was a guard. All right, we're going to come back with more here on the show. Our thanks to our friends at Hialeah Park for bringing you the Trivia Challenge. And, we'll have to someday get a gift certificate to give away down at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. No, Lubie?
That would be nice. We do something Jimmy Johnson's, then maybe people from outside the area who want to come for vacation will save that for their vacation. That'd be great.
Yeah. Imagine you already know you got a head start there on the check, which is always going to be reasonable at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Because the food is great, the prices are right, the atmosphere is absolutely sensational, spectacular. I mean, there's just something about the place that makes you feel like, wow, I have sort of escaped everything that I was worried about, thinking about, and here I am in the Keys. This week, I would imagine, would be ideal, too, because you've had a lot of people kind of clear out of here, spring breakers and all of that stuff, and I'm not sure that, I would imagine they entertain their share of spring break people. But, people love coming here at this time of the year, and it's absolutely ideal. Check it out for yourself if you're from out of town. It's mile marker 104 on the Overseas Highway. As soon as you get to Key Largo, as soon as you get past that stretch where you're going, when are we going to get somewhere? Which used to be like dreadful 2-lane highway. Remember that? It was awful. And then you had to pass people, and they had that bogus lane. And as soon as you were getting ready to fire your way past 7 cars, all of a sudden, the lane's ending. And you're trying to squeeze your way back in there. It was kind of like the old days on Alligator Alley a little bit. But now, I mean, it's a real easy ride. And you can get there in I don't know, does it even take an hour from Dade County? Maybe a 1 and a hook from Broward, something like that, to get down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill?
Yeah, from Dade, it's like an hour. From here, it's a little over an hour. I mean, if you hit it at the right time, it's not bad at all.
You could pay what is it? What were they charging people? Millions of dollars to go into space when they had that whole thing going where guys were flying with like Elon Musk and was it Bezos? They were sending rockets into space.
Thousands. I think it's hundreds of thousands.
Okay. I mean, it's a lot of money. I mean, yes. I think it's over $1 million, but you could spend if you can find gas, you could spend like a few bucks in gas and get down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. And it's like leaving the planet. It really is. It's just absolutely phenomenal. the atmosphere and the vibe that you get down there. So check it out for yourself. Go online, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at jimmyjohnsonsbigchill.com, and you'll see what the accommodations are all about, which are spectacular. So if you really want to plan like a few days of just ultimate relaxation and then have a tremendous vacation as well, taking into account all of the different things you could do in that area of the Keys, you can spend your time dining and relaxing at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill and explore everything else while living or staying in very posh accommodations at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, available at jimmyjohnsonsbigchill.com. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
People always ask me, who is that? I mean, it's Gino Gianniati from the Sunnyside Garden in New York that does the time. But I thought I read somewhere, is this possible that, Jimmy Lennon Jr., who looks and sounds just like his father, not quite as elegant as his father was, who was a real show business character, Jimmy Lennon, I wouldn't be senior, I guess, it would just be Jimmy Lennon, who was, of course, at the Olympic Auditorium and did all of the ring announcing in L.A., wrestling and boxing, roller derby, whatever it was Jimmy Lennon. Always resplendent in a tuxedo. He may have even, I don't know that he started that trend, but he always looked great. I believe he's being inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame like this year, which seems impossible, doesn't it? That he could be overlooked for this long? How is that possible, Lubie?
I feel like
Jimmy Lennon, who checked out many years ago.
He's been gone for years. Like that'd be weird to do it now.
I mean, of all the ring announcers to be in the Hall of Fame, you'd think that the original Jimmy Lennon would have been in there as like one of the original inductees, no? So is it possible? I'm going to have to check that out again to see if he's one of the guys going into the Boxing Hall of Fame this year. I think those ceremonies are upcoming in short order. So, that's a serious oversight on the part of the committee there. I mean, it's not like it's easy necessarily to get in there in a ring announcing capacity, but how they could not have Jimmy Lennon already in the Hall of Fame would be beyond comprehension. That's like an Adelaide Bird decision, right? Where they read the scorecard, 118, 110, Canelo. And you're like, what? The man got carried out in a stretcher, and you have him winning almost all 12 rounds? It's impossible. She's probably in the Hall of Fame. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:29. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion. I don't have to say a lot more about the way I feel about Ric Flair. No respect, no honor. There is no honor among thieves. He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. Daddy.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
All right, mixed bag of results last night, if you're a local fan here in South Florida, as the Panthers, with an improbable win in Boston against the vaunted Boston Bruins, now even up that series at 1 apiece, and they will play Game 3 here tomorrow night. I mean, they don't mess around in the NHL.
Yes.
You would think if anybody needed more time between games, it would be these hockey players. Sensational what they do. I was thinking last night, what amazing athletes these guys are. I mean, to be able to skate up and down the ice like that. I mean, they're doing all this shit on skates. That's incredible. And just knocking the crap out of each other. This game, and I always love it because it's kind of like when all the wrestlers run out of the locker room at the end. When you're at WrestleMania and there's two guys and they finally get to the end of the match and then all of the guys storm into the ring there.
Chaos
and
reigns.
it's mayhem.
That was my dad's. My dad would always say, "And chaos reigns."
Yeah. Pandemonium. That was the word of the great Gordon Sully. It's pandemonium here. In fact, it wasn't even officially a wrestling show on Championship Wrestling from Florida until Gordon Sully used the word. That was the secret word. It would drop down. Pandemonium. It's amazing how often wrestling events end up in pandemonium.
Pretty much everyone.
Is it not? Yeah. and it's true of hockey also, especially in the playoffs where they don't necessarily fight during the game. You don't see a lot of fights during the game in the hockey playoffs. They kind of, pull it back a little bit. I don't know if the officials maybe let a little more go or whatever. You would think that would lead to more fights, but they know how critical it is not to end up with like a 5-minute fighting penalty. Yep. So you see a lot of that activity is curtailed during the course of the game. But as soon as the game is over, they all go at it, right? Yes. Isn't that great? It's amazing. Because you knew that they were starting to build up this, tension and acrimony for each other if it wasn't there already. And it doesn't matter to NHL players. I mean, they make no distinction. They can have a guy that just got traded to the other team and played with them for 12 years, and they still want to beat the shit out of him after the game. Because now he's on the opposition. So that's kind of how that ended up last night. And so they play again on Friday without a whole lot of rest, and that'll happen here in South Florida. And after that win last night, do you think the bandwagon doors are open a little bit, Mike Lubitz? You would have to be encouraged that the upset was a possibility here over the number 1 seed, the Boston Bruins, a sensational team. And it could be sort of similar. The Panthers did get by that first-round matchup with the Capitals last year. But they
didn't look like this.
I mean, this was a much tougher team. I mean, they didn't disgrace themselves in game number 1. It certainly could have gone either way. It did seem like Boston controlled the action and really was dictating the pace in the game. But as you look at game 2, I mean, they were pretty much dead even. Panthers coughed up a lot of big-time scoring chances. They also had their share, right at the end of the second period. Didn't Barkov come cruising in? Looked like he was going to score a goal. He made a nice little dipsy doodle Victor Kozlov move in front of the net there and tried to go to the backhand. And the Bruins goalie, came up to stop, which was pretty incredible. And you thought, wow, this guy is unbeatable. And then they beat him like a drum in the third period. So that was good. That was encouraging. And the Heat back in action on Saturday night as they will take on the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 3. How is it that we know the medical condition of Giannis Antetokounmpo without really knowing anything about it, right? We have no idea how this guy really feels, do we?
No.
He looked pretty spry last night, did he not? I mean, for a guy with back problems.
He's not crippled. He's an athletic freak. So if your lower back is an issue, it will limit. Because it's not like he's a silky smooth player. His game is predicated on being able to jump really high. That's literally his game. He's not a good shooter.
And smash into people. Yes. He's like a human bowling ball when he's in.
Yeah, he runs you over and he jumps over you and he jumps high to block shots. That's what he does. So if your back is tweaked at all, then yeah, you can live normal life. You can be excited on a bench. You're not going to be able to go and dunk on people. And that's why I was like, fine, play him. Because the reports came out that they upgraded him to questionable. I'm like, good. I hope he plays because the Heat aren't winning this game. The Heat are going to squander this game away. Play him now. Let him really get hurt. And then he'll be out. And then eventually that's where Reggie Miller will be wrong. Where Giannis being gone and Hero being gone, Giannis means more is long-term. The reason Reggie could be right is Hero Giannis gone for one game. The Milwaukee Bucks can light their hair on fire and shoot really well and play. Eventually, if you don't have Giannis for the series, the Heat will win that series. Like, I would have no doubt that he would win the series. The thing is, if you don't have Giannis for one game, which is what they eventually did, and it was smart, you'll probably still win that damn game. And then Giannis pretty much gets a week off. And then even if he's not himself, he'll be damn near himself Saturday. And then even if the Heat find a way to win that game, they're not winning this series. So like, you'll have Giannis the rest of the series, and eventually they'll just wear out the now lesser manned Heat because they have Giannis and we don't have Hero.
All right. I mean, it wouldn't be uncommon, or unusual to see that theory hold up. I was amazed at your pessimism of their chances in game number 2. You turned out to be completely correct, Mike Lubie Lubitz, on both games last night, whereas I was, as usual, dead wrong. Dead wrong. I thought the Heat were in there with a realistic shot against the Milwaukee Bucks. I was surprised. I mean, that they were getting handled late in the first period, and it just continued and mushroomed from there. The negativity, which was somewhat. I mean, that was actually beyond disappointing. I mean, if you were a Heat fan, it was depressing to watch that game. It really was. Because here was a golden opportunity. I mean, literally served up on a silver platter. Here come the hors d'oeuvres. Right? Yeah, I'll have a couple of more of those meatballs because, you're in there before the crowd even is assembled. And they're already coming around with the hors d'oeuvres. You can grab whatever you want. And it seemed like they had a chance to grab a little bit of a brass ring there with a 2-0 performance in Milwaukee. I believe. I mean, it still could have gone 7 or whatever, but I'm thinking the 2-0 lead with the 2 wins on the road would have been insurmountable, regardless of the status of Antetokounmpo. Interestingly, I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks were being handled when a healthy Antetokounmpo was in the lineup. The Heat had a distinct advantage over them in the early going. I mean, they looked like garbage, the Milwaukee Bucks, in the first quarter of game number 1. So things can change in a hurry, and we'll see. Now, Milwaukee, do they have to adapt again to having Giannis in the lineup? Yet you would think that would be beneficial. Their record was not nearly as good, even though it was a favorable one, above 500 without Giannis in the lineup.
Yeah, right.
This year, their record was something like 11-8.
Yes.
As a team without Antetokounmpo. The Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant actually were very good.
Yes.
And have been in the past as well, even though Ja Morant is a terrific ball player, a fantastic basketball player with some Kyrie Irving instincts in terms of his off-court behavior.
The Bucks without Giannis can put it together for a game. I don't know if they put it together for more than that. The Grizzlies are able to put 2 or 3 games together. But again, as we saw versus the Warriors last year, with Ja, they can almost beat anyone. Without Ja, eventually they're going to lose. Like the Lakers, if Ja was to miss more than 1 game, I would give the Lakers that series. Now, the way that the Grizzlies were able to do that, you'll get Ja back. He'll be pissed. I would say that series is a toss-up because a lot of people were leaning Lakers. We'll see. The Lakers should have done.
Lakers were favored last night by 1 point, which I looked at and I thought, my God, they're going to get blown out in this game. And they essentially did. They ended up losing by 10, but they were behind by large margins throughout most of that game, and it didn't look good in the process. Right? Is Dylan Brooks inside the head? This is the question of the day here. You'll hear a lot of this on the Stephen A. Smith type of shows. Is Dylan Brooks inside the head of LeBron James already? Kind of like Rodman was with Zoe. What do you think, Lubie? I mean, trash talking is going on. This guy has been, one of those guys that you're hoping gets, not that we wish injury on anybody, but you wouldn't mind seeing his teeth falling out like chiclets after getting an elbow in the face. No? Dylan Brooks, he's been, just a provocateur or whatever that is. I mean, just provoking people right and left. Is that right? Provocateur?
Yes.
Really?
Antagonizer.
You're going to give me that? Yeah. An antagonizer. An antagonist. There you go.
Someone that,
an asshole, basically, is what you're saying.
It's a jerk off, but I feel like it's used a lot more times in like society. A time that a person wants to change the world, they're like agent provocateur. In this world, in sports, it's usually an asshole, an antagonistic asshole is what you would call them in sports.
Who needs it, right? I mean, is the guy good enough to really be representing that position? I mean, people could say the same thing about Draymond Green at this stage, but Green has, a demonstrated history of being a very valuable commodity to a team. Dylan Brooks, I guess, they stick him on LeBron James, which is no easy assignment. It's not like James isn't scoring, but a theory now out there. It doesn't take much to get a theory going, and especially when it's one that is undefinable. Like we would have no way of knowing if Dylan Brooks was inside the head. I mean, what does that even mean? I guess such an agitating component that it's throwing him off his game. I don't know if that's the case.
Not with LeBron. LeBron will get his. LeBron always gets his.
Like he hasn't heard it before. LeBron in 20 years in the NBA.
It's what the other guys do. I mean, look, last night it wasn't Middleton had a nice game and Drew Holiday had a nice game. They didn't go crazy.
Yeah.
Neither had 40. Like it was the fact that 4 schmanks, and they're all our schmanks, 4 schmanks score 15 or more. Like if you get Brooke Lopez was in the NBA in the early 2000s. Like the dude wasn't athletic then.
Yeah.
He's in like his late 30s, if not 40s.
Doesn't his brother though still have the wild hair? Is his brother with the Nets?
I don't know if Robin's still in the league. I don't know. That I don't know. He
All right.
had the crazy hair.
I saw a guy with crazy hair, and I was thinking that had to be Robin Lopez. No,
I don't know if he's still in the league. He
All right.
was nowhere near what Brooke is. Brooks found a home with the Bucks. He's changed his game a little bit. He's still an old fart, and at that age, you shouldn't be putting up 25 fucking points versus a young spry all-star in Bam Adebayo. Pat Connaughton and Grayson Allen and Joe Ingles shouldn't combine for 40-something.
Joe Ingles looks like a social studies teacher, doesn't he? Like some
he's like an accountant. Well, no, because your son
school in Alabama. Yeah,
like you think a CPA looks like from freaking TV shows, or like a used car salesman. That's what
does he have the hairy back like Paul McKeskey or Neil Walk as well? I mean, he's one of those guys with like weird hair in his arms, right? He just doesn't look like an NBA player. Does he? I mean, Ingles, and yet he's an effective 3-point shooter. That's a certainty. When he's on, I didn't know that we would see that much of him, but with Antetokounmpo out, that's one thing. But this Lakers series, I mean, they're favored by a point. The odds makers, every now and then they just try to suck you into one. Lakers favored by a point. John Morant's going to be in all likelihood out. I don't know that was ever officially declared until like game time, because they're saying that he has no real serious damage, but. This is his shooting hand, and you would imagine it would be pretty prohibitive even trying to catch the ball the way it looked like he came down and maybe even broke his wrist. But they were favored last night. I think they were the only favorite to lose last night, the Lakers on the board. We have games on tap tonight, though, Lubie. We want to get to that, touch on a few things here. 76ers are now on the road against the Brooklyn Nets. Nets a very noble effort this season to make a complete and total transformation of their roster and still make it into the playoffs as the number 6 seed. Unfortunately, they were facing a very formidable opponent there in Philadelphia. Philadelphia looked sluggish in the first half of game number 2. They managed to pull off the win. It came, I believe, by double digits. Do they go into Brooklyn and win again? They're favored by 4.5 on the road. 76ers. What do you think?
That's the one series I think is going to be a sweep. What's funny is the Hawks are horrendous and the Hawks are a joke. But somehow they have a lot of shooters.
You think they win one game in Atlanta?
We see shooters get hot at home, and the Celtics have this way of playing down at times where that's the series where the Celtics will win easy, but I could see maybe the Hawks getting one at home. Then I think the Sixers Nets game will be more interesting, but I think in the end the Sixers that's the one series I could see that in the Denver series. The Denver just feels like they're walking through the T-Wolves.
Yeah, Denver won easily last night. Could this be a 3-dog night? That's what I'm trying to lead into here, Lubie. A 3-dog night in the NBA. Usually the NBA is chalk city. I want to say that 3 out of 4 favorites. Well, that was in the NHL. 3 out of 4 favorites won last night. The only upset were, the Florida Panthers. Was the Florida Panthers, and they were, 2-1 underdogs in that game. You could have got 2-1 if you bet the Panthers straight up to win that game. Do we have 3 dogs maybe that can prevail tonight? 76ers Nets. Nets maybe underrated in this series. They've been, somewhat competitive. At least they were in the first half of the second game. They got blown out in the first game, didn't they? Yeah, I think they just got absolutely stomped. Can they win a game in Brooklyn? And if they do, is it game 3? Or can they come within 4.5 points? What do you think, Lubie? Do we give the nod to the dog in that game? Lean would be towards the 76ers. Go ahead and lay the 4 in the hook. That's your original instinct, so let's go against that. Warriors are 5.5-point favorites without Draymond Green against the Sacramento Kings. Kings are 2-0 in the series. Kings have played very well. Kings have Mr. Clutch now. And De'Aaron Fox, he won the original Jerry West Mr. Clutch Award for being the top clutch basketball player in the NBA this year. I didn't see enough of the Kings. I mean, did they even know the Kings were in the league anymore until this season? They hadn't done anything since 2006. They hadn't made the postseason. They were a very good team this year. Where we started looking at the standings, and we were startled to see how well they were doing. They became part of the basketball conversation, but never in the sense that they have enough firepower to win a championship. Do they have enough firepower, Lubie, to give the Warriors a game where obviously the Warriors have been very good at home because they stunk on the road and still made it as what, the 6th seed? Or 7. I guess they were 7th,
They were
right?
the 6th.
Were the Kings the 2 seed?
They were elite at home. They were garbage on the road. Which is
I guess is this 4 versus 5? No, that's the Clippers series.
Warriors is 6-3.
6-3, yeah, 6-3.
Top 3 seed the entire year, which I still will never understand.
All right, so what do you think? You take 5 and a hook with the Kings tonight over the Warriors. No Draymond Green.
No. Oh man, there's no Draymond.
Do you take the points?
This is the first, but they're
or do the Warriors make a statement tonight?
They're
They
going
shoot
to lose
lights
the Warriors
out.
in this game. The Warriors aren't losing this game.
Sabonis may not play, I guess. Also, that's the other thing.
Sabonis is hurt, and that is Draymond's not doing that much for the Warriors these days. Honestly, he's just out there and he's an agitator. Domantas Sabonis is their second best player, and at times he's their most important player because he's a big, who's a great passer. Who a lot of the time, as good as De'Aaron Fox is, they run their offense through Domantas Sabonis. So if Sabonis doesn't play, that's huge for them.
No Sabonis lay the points.
Really bad about fans. I don't care about fans. You and I've talked about this for years. Be a fan however you want. I don't give a shit how expensive tickets are. I don't give a shit when you leave a game. Whatever fans are, they are Boston or South Florida.
We're talking about sports, right? I mean, if you're a fan,
stupid ass argument.
Be a fan any way you want. Yeah,
I really don't care about the argument. Boston fans are great fans. South Florida fans are horrendous. There you go. Whatever makes you happy. I think the Warriors win this game. I think the Warriors, they're not going to go down 0-3. They have enough shooters that they can overcome Draymond. And I still question the Kings' tertiary guys. Like they played really well through 2, again, being at home.
I would love to see them win this game. I really would. The Kings. Just because, I don't know. I mean, I like the Warriors. Watching the Warriors is always entertaining because you never know what Curry's going to do. And, I was sort of a Klay Thompson fan. His shot kind of fell off, but he's come back this year. I mean, back to the pack a little bit. No, as a realistic, high-end scoring threat and somebody that you have to deal with. Maybe not as much as he was a few years ago before all these injuries beset him, but still very formidable presence. They have other guys, too. I mean, Poole and Looney is always an effective player. You would think the Warriors at home would be a good bet here, but laying 5 and a hook against the Kings, no Draymond Green. Could it be a 3-dog night? And then the Suns are favored on the road against the Clippers. What do you make of that, Lubie? Suns are favored by 2.5. Now, I know they won game 2, and they kind of won it handily, but they were tied at halftime at 59 apiece. So do they have any way to contend with Kawhi Leonard, who is so far in the playoffs the most outstanding player? Because, he has just been unstoppable, dynamite, and you know that almost all of the concentration of the Phoenix Suns defensively has to be on Kawhi Leonard. Plus, he's guarding Kevin Durant, who's still scoring. But when Kawhi Leonard's on him, you can see it's very difficult for Durant, much more so than it is against other players. What do you think? Are you laying 2.5 with the Suns or taking the points with the Clippers there? And getting ready to watch Steve Ballmer leave the court there, feeling nothing but giddy about the way that his team is performing for his $4 billion. What do you think? $2 billion, I guess it was. A bargain at this point. Kings and the Clippers, Lubie. One last one. Nothing?
I think the Clippers, what is it, 1-1? No, it's Clippers at Suns.
Yeah, Clippers at Suns. Yeah.
I think
the Suns are on the road.
The problem is the Suns have everyone and the Clippers don't. And Kawhi can go all Kawhi as much as he wants. And I like the pieces on the Clippers. They're just not. It's not, and I get it. The Suns don't have the depth. The depth thing's stupid in the playoffs. Like you could have a 12-man rotation. You usually shrink it down to 8. The stars play more. Well, if you have 4 guys that are all-star caliber, and Aiden was this year, and you have 1 on the Clippers, like eventually, I don't give a shit. And I like Terrence Mann, and I like what the Clippers throw out there. They're not comparing to Aiden's your 4th dude. When DeAndre Ayton's allowed to just like dunk and rebound. That's scary. And he already was like that before. Now that you have Kevin Durant, it takes even more pressure off Ayton. Like I thought this was going to be a really interesting series. The more you watch it, I think the games will be fun. I can see the Suns winning the series in 5 or 6. It's just like by the end of the game, you're going to see the Suns pull away because the Clippers just can't. It's one dude. It's literally, and he's playing his ass off, Kawhi Leonard. But like,
Westbrook has been a factor.
Better, and he's a contributor, but he's not going to give you a 30, 20, and 10. Like he's not. that guy anymore.
His shooting percentage woes continue to plague him. Russell Westbrook. But hustles his, his ass off. There's no question. All right, good. All right, so you're not going to go with the 3-dog night. We established nothing there, Lubie. I was trying to get people aroused a little bit here and
No.
maybe go boldly into the evening thinking, hey, all 3 dogs in the NBA will win tonight. I was feeling a Mark Lawrence moment here for a second, but I don't know if I have the balls to do that either. All right, we have to run. No, we're going to see you guys at 12 o'clock. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. We'll find out about this blind date that he had, which wasn't intended to be a blind date, correct? I mean, it was just a thing. And he was very casual about it, although seemed very much more enthusiastic after sending pictures of this hot babe who bought the opportunity at a charity auction to have lunch with Mike Mayo, the very discriminating and knowledgeable, food critic that he is. Right, so it's kind of like you're sitting down with a chef or something, right? Well, these mussels are slightly underdone. I mean, and you're getting his opinion, and it turned out, are they going to see each other again? That would be the question, Libby. Sounded like yes.
It seemed like yes. It seemed like yes. It seemed like they're very similar stations in life, and she actually seemed to enjoy his company. And he didn't do what I wanted him to do. He hid his real eating personality and became more of the gourmet.
Yeah.
And that's really what that's really the guy that women tend to fall for, as we've seen. He was out with
yeah.
We can talk about this one. The right,
charming. He knows wines and everything. He says, "Well, that goes much better with a Pinot Noir."
The guy that does the writing,
yeah,
is the guy that
it's a different guy.
Let's Eat follows.
Yeah,
the guy that we do a show with
is a schlep. He's our schlep, as they say about Jimmy Butler. Yeah. That'll be interesting to see what happens there with that development, because it was kind of interesting to see Mayo bust out in that fashion there and very casually approach this thing. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like he was very enthusiastic about it. Now, it's not uncommon, though, when you get up there in years. I guess this would kind of be, is it a sign that you're getting old, or that maybe, this woman isn't for you, where she whips out a picture of her teenage grandchildren? What do you think? Would that be a turnoff? Yeah.
She didn't say teenage. That's where he confused me. He said the fact that she's a grandmother, but you can be a grandmother like you're a grandfather of like a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, if you had your kids in your 20s instead of in your late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah, no, I got going at 30 something.
And Mayo, I think, had late 30s, early 40s. So like, you would think, God, I don't think he wants to be a grandfather yet. The fact that his daughter's 17, her kids are by her 50s, they're in their 30s.
Yeah, no, he doesn't want to be a grandfather yet.
So I don't think she's like an old grandmother, right?
No, it's not some old bag. Yeah.
No,
I don't think so. All right, we have to run. We have a Believe podcast coming up later on. You can catch that on BLEAV network, and then Mike Mayo's Lunchbox at 12 o'clock. And tomorrow, a Degenerate Friday. That's going to be a lot of fun. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks to Dave Gurggles Gergely. The Trivia Challenge was a lot of fun. And congratulations to, once again, Lenny the Chronic, our winner. And we'll see you next time as we leave you on that. How is Jimmy Lennon not in the Hall of Fame already? If that's happening, it's a travesty. I mean, just a disgrace.
I'll get you an answer.
I mean, if he's getting in this year, thank goodness, but long overdue, my man. He died years ago. It's 8:55.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.